Hello guys, so welcome to this tutorial. To draft this shirt, we're going to start with drafting the back pattern, and then we're going to alter the back just a little and then use it to draft the front. So I'm starting with the shoulder, and I'm using the shoulder slope of 1 inch, and then my neckline is going to be 3 inches by 1 for back, and then for front I'm going to make use of 3 inches by 3 inches. So I'm just marking the neckline here now, and then I'll connect it to the shoulder slope. Next is for me to impute my chest line, and I'm working with a chest line of 8.225 inches. Now mark that out there. Next is for me to mark my waistline. Now I'm working with waistline of 16 inches. Now I don't want to mark the back waistline different. Ideally my waistline for back is supposed to be 14 inches, but I want to use the waistline for front because it doesn't really matter in this tutorial. Next is the full length of the shirt, and I'm working with 25 inches, which is what I'm marking out now. Okay, to continue, I'm going to bring down my shoulder measurement in order for me to be able to complete my armhole there. So I brought down the shoulder measurement of 7 inches, and I'm connecting it to the shoulder slope. Now I'm going to divide this the line there by 2, which is going to give me 3.625, and then I will come in by 0.5 and connect that line there. Now I'm going to impute my bust measurement divided by 4, which will give me 8.5. Now I want this blouse to be free, so I'm going to add 1 extra inches to it, and that will give me 9.5 there. So I'll just connect that there. Okay, so the next thing now, I want to impute a dart there. Not that the dart is going to be functional, but I just want to add that extra allowance there so as to make this shirt very free. So it's not like I'm going to sew down the dart or something. I just want to impute it there just to create that allowance there. So I'm opening the dart up by ½ inch on both sides, and I'll just connect that up. Next is for me to impute my waist measurement. My waist is 28. 28 divided by 4 will give me 7, plus 1 inch for that and 1 inch for allowance, making it 9 inches. Now I'll connect it to my bust there, and then my hip measurement is 40. 40 divided by 4 will give me 10, plus 1 inch allowance will give me 11 inches there. All I need to do now is just to connect that point there, and I have my back pattern ready. So all I need to do now is just to cut this out, and then I'm going to use it to derive my front pattern. Okay, so now I have another paper for my front pattern, and I'm just going to create a border line at the top there, a starting line. So I'm coming down by 1 inch just to create that line there. Okay, so next also is for me to mark out 2.5 inches at the front there. Now this 2.5 inches is going to serve as allowance for our shirt placket for the front. So I'll mark that out now, and then place my center back directly on that line, and I'm going to just pin it down to secure it and keep it in place. All I just need to do now is for me to just alter the neckline back to what it's supposed to be. And I initially told you the neckline is going to be 3 inches by 3 inches. So that's all I just need to do. And then we're going to cut it out. That's basically all that is required for the front there. So I'll just mark that out now and just cut it out. And then we'll continue in this drafting. Okay, so I have my center front and my center back pattern ready. Now we need to measure our neckline, most especially the back neckline, because we are going to be fixing a collar to this shirt and the back is open. So if we don't measure this neckline, by the time we alter the back pattern, we might not be able to get it. So we have to measure that back neckline, and we have it to be 3.5 inches there. Now I want to alter the back neckline. So I'm going to be using the waistline. Actually, when I wanted making this style, I wanted the back to be very deep to make it beautiful. But when I when I made the blouse, the church girl in me who will not permit me to wear it because I discovered the back was a little too low, even though it was very beautiful. So if you don't want yours to be this low, please, you can just move up. Don't come down to the waistline just like I did. Okay, you can decide to use your chest line or a little below the chest line. Okay, so I just want to create some slash line of 1.5 inches there, each slash line, and I'll just mark them out and then slash these lines open. Okay, now I need another paper because we're going to slash this open and then spread on the new paper. Okay, now that we are done slashing, I'm just going to pin it to this new paper and then spread it out. So guys, I decided to spread my slash line by 1.5 inches. So I'm just opening them up by 1.5 inches there. Alright, now that I'm done, the next thing is for me to create a straight line from here back to the center back. Now I want to make sure I still have my full length of 25 inches intact. So I just mark that there, and then I'll just connect it like so. Now you can choose to either go up like this, or if you want your neckline to remain the same, like you don't want to create any pleats there, just connect it like so. I don't want it to have any pleat, so that is why I created that curve there, just to make sure my shoulder measurement is intact. Okay, next I'll just cut it out, and we have our pattern for the back ready. And alright, so this is the fabric we'll be working with is a Duchess fabric, and is about 2.5 yards. So guys, I discovered I don't want my back, the cowl neckline at the back, to have a seam line there. I want it to be seamless, so I decided to cut a facing, to attach a facing to it, which I didn't do initially. So that is just what I want to derive now. So just place this new paper on it like so. Just attach it, and then just try to cut out any excess, and I have my facing ready. Okay. Alright, so our back pattern is fully ready. Next is for me to place on fabric, and then we'll cut out. So now I'm going to be placing this fabric on bias fold just for the back, because I want the back to really drip. So the back is on bias drip. But please note that the front is not going to be cut on bias fold. I'm just going to cut it straight. I'm adding allowances here, 0.5 inches, and then on the side seam I'm going to make it 2 inches. Now on the hemline I added 2 inches, and then at the side I decided to create that curve there, so I went up by 1.5 inches and I connected it back. So I'll just cut out now, cut the front, and then I'll just show you everything. Okay guys, so I've cut the front here now, and I added 0.5 inches allowance, 2 inches on the side and 2 on the hemline. This is the front, the back, the same thing was done. Next thing is I want to cut out the sleeve before we continue. Now I'm going to be cutting this sleeve. I'm going to be using the length of 24 inches to cut the sleeve. So I'm just marking out the 24 inches now. Okay, my cap height is 4 inches. And my armhole measurement is 7.25. Now you know on the bodice of the blouse I added 1 inch allowance, so that will give me 8.25, and I want to add 2 inches for sewing allowance. That is why I have 10.25 there. So I'll just divide what I have here by 2 and then create my curves. Okay. Next thing is just for me to flare out from that place. And I'll just cut it out now. So after I'm done cutting out, then we'll just go to joining proper. Alright guys, now to start the joining, I decided to show you this. Now before you remove your back pattern, it's advisable you just use your iron to press it out there so you don't mix up that line there, or you give it a notch. Okay, so this is the back. And you can see I have my facing there. Now I just want to straighten it out, and I'm going to use hemming gum to hold it in place. Though I'm going to stitch the hemline to neaten it there, the hemline of the facing I mean, so as to neaten it there, and then I'll use hemming gum to secure it and to keep it in place. Alright guys, can you see cowl effect at the back? Looking beautiful already. So I'm just going to keep this aside now and then bring out the front pattern, and then we're going to be creating our front placket. Now we added 2.5 inches for the placket, so I'm going to mark out that 2.5 inches, then mark out another 0.5 inches. Alright guys, can you see? So I've marked out the 0.5 inches and the 2.5 inches. Now I'm folding that 0.5 inches in, and then I'll flip it over again directly on where our 2.5 inches mark is, and then give it a good press so that it can lay flat, and then make it easy for us to stitch it down. So I'll just do it for the first one. The second one I'll be doing it off camera, then I'll stitch it, and then you'll see how it looks. Alright guys, can you see? I've stitched it down and I've also sewn it. Next thing will be for us to fix the shoulders together, and since our back already has a facing, we're going to be using the facing for the back to neaten the shoulder seam so that our seam line won't be outside. So you can just see the way I'm flipping it. That's like putting the front shoulder in between the back, the main fabric of the back and the facing, just so that we can have that neat finish in there. Alright guys, I'm done sewing the shoulder, and can you see how it looks? Alright, next thing will now be for us to join the side seam. I'll mark out the allowance of 2 inches that I added, and then we're going to be sewing it down. Alright guys, so I'm done stitching the side, and I've also gone ahead to press it out to give it a good press. So the next thing now will be for us to measure out our neckline so we can cut out our collar. So now we're going to be cutting the collar stand and the collar itself. Now we already have our back measurement to be 3.5, so we just need to measure out what we have for the front, and then we'll use it to draft our collar. So I have it to be 11.25 there. So I want to measure one side because this collar is going to be cut on fold. And for one side, I have it to be 5.75. You want to remeasure it so you are sure you know what your measurement you are taking is not too much or too small. So I have it there. I've confirmed it to be 5.75. So 5.75 plus 3.5 is going to give us 9.25, and then we're going to add 1 inch for seam allowance, and that is going to make it 10.25. Okay, please note that this fabric is on fold. I just want to give some space there because I decided to add my seam allowances. So the collar stand is going to be 1.5 inches tall. So I'm marking out that 1.5 inches now. Next is for me to input my back neckline, which is 3.5, and I'm inputting it on the side that is on fold because we don't have any opening at the back, so the back neckline will be closed. Now to continue in the drafting, from the edge here, you go up by 0.75 and connect it to the back neckline. From where we went up by 0.75, you want to complete the 1.5 inches there. So you just go up there by 1.5 inches and then connect it back to join the back neckline. I'll just blend my this thing and try to avoid any sharp point. At that place, I went in by 1 inch and then create a curve there. Okay, and then blend it up so that there is no sharp point. Now I want to add my allowance direct, so I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch to the sides all round. Okay, so now that I'm done, I'll cut it out now and then use it to cut another piece because our collar stand is supposed to be 2-piece, and then we're going to draft the main collar itself. So guys, to draft the main collar, I've drawn a starting line there, and I just marked the 10.25 inches, which is the collar, the length of the collar. Now I'm marking out 4 inches. Ideally, I want the collar to be 3 inches, and I've also added 1 inch for seam allowance. Now I'm marking out the back neckline, which is 3.5 inches there on fold. Please note that the 3.5 inches is on fold. Now from the back neckline there, I went up by 0.5, and I'm connecting it to the end of the line there. That's the front neckline there. And then from the front neckline up there, I went up by 1 inch, and I'm going to create a straight line to the edge. Also on the other side, I'm going to come down also by 0.5, and I'll connect with a straight line to the other end. Now I'll just cut it out. This is all for the main collar. Now I'm also going to be cutting two pieces of this. So I'll just use this one to cut the second piece. When I'm done cutting, I'll go ahead and interface them, and then we'll be joining every piece of the collars together before fixing it to the shirt we are making. So I have my collar stand and my collar complete now. Can you see? Alright guys, so I've interfaced. Can you see? I've added my interface. First thing we are going to do is to work with the collar stand, the collar itself, and we are going to be sewing. We're not going to be sewing the neckline. That is where we are going to be joining to the collar stand, rather the other side that has the sharp edge. So we are going to be sewing that side round. Alright guys, so you see I've sewn on 1/2 inch, and I'm creating my notch there. After notching, I'm going to be trimming out the excess there. Turn it over and give it a good press. Okay guys, can you see? My collar is ready. Now the next thing is to create a notch there so that I can get the midpoint of the collar. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the collar stand. I'm going to get that midpoint there, create a notch there, and then I'm going to fix my collar in between the two collar stand like so. I'll make sure the notches are in the same place, and then I'm going to sew it round. Now you can see that I'm folding that edge up. That's to make it easy for us to attach it to the dress. Can you see? So now I'm going to give it a good press. I'll notch, then give it a good press. So can you see our collar now fully attached to the collar stand? Now I want to further create that notch there. You know our center back is closed, so we need to measure out our back neckline of 3.5 so we can close that up, because we are not attaching the back to anything. Alright, so you can see the way I just flipped it and put the collar in between the collar stand so that I can just sew that place. Alright guys, can you see? I've stitched it down now, and then the remaining part on both sides is what we are going to be fixing to our front neckline. Okay. So can you see? You want to make sure that they are both equal, and that is why you need to make sure that your measurements are correct. Alright guys, can you see? I've joined it to the dress. Can you see how it looks? Now that other side which we folded in, we're just going to top stitch on it to keep it in place, to secure it. Okay guys, can you see? So our collar is ready. Now this has been a long tutorial, so the next thing is just for me to work on the sleeve now, and I'm going to create that gathered effect on the wrist of the sleeve there. I've also, can you see our gathers? And I have it to be 10 inches. I've also gone to cut this fabric piece on fold. It's 10 inches also, which I'm going to be using to complete the sleeve. Now you can see the way I turned it over, so I'm going to be sewing it down on 0.5 inches. Give it a good press and then continue. Can you see now? So I've flipped it over and you see I have it neatly sewn on both sides. So what I just do now is to fix it to the wrist of the sleeve where I have the gathers, and then I'll fix it to the blouse, and then you see how it looks. Because this has been a long tutorial, I don't want to show that part again. Guys, can you see? Can you see our finished blouse? And can you see our back? The dress is so beautiful. I like the color of the fabric. Very nice and beautiful. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for staying tuned up to this time. Thank you. Bye. See you.